Ready when you are,
All
sir.
right, we'll go ahead and get started here. We'd like to welcome Xander Schauffele into the interview room at the Players Championship. Xander comes into the week number 4 in the FedEx Cup, number 5 in the official world golf ranking, and is tied for the most top 10s on tour this season with 5. So Xander, if we could just get an opening comment ahead of your third appearance here at the Players Championship.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's kind of crazy that it's been a full year since this crazy COVID thing happened. So it's nice to be back here. Played a few practice rounds already. It's nice to see some fans as well. This is my first tournament this season, I guess, or since COVID that I've played with fans. So it's everything kind of feels like it's somewhat back to normal.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions to media that we have on the line. If you have a question, please type your name into the comment section. We'll start with Dylan DeChair, golf.com.
Hey Xander, let's see, Florida golf and California golf. Could you compare and contrast?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting this week compared to when we normally play this event. It's more green, you know. I'm used to it being a little more bone dry. The rough just seems to be sort of sweet, sassy, molassy. It's just a really weird difference for me when it comes to playing this week versus San Diego or even Vegas. Vegas has been bone dry and it's really sticky and sort of different here for sure.
Do you like the style of golf better in California or Florida?
I mean, I grew up on the West Coast, so yes, you know, I mean, it is overseed right now, so it is kind of similar to back home, but much stickier, I'd say, than what I'm used to on the West Coast.
Thanks, Xander.
Next question, Daniel Rappaport, Golf Digest. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey Xander. When you look at the list of past winners of this event, it's a pretty eclectic bunch. It doesn't seem like one of those courses that kind of plays into one style of play. How would you describe TPC Sawgrass? Like, what does it test? What kind of course is it from your eyes?
It's just everything. You know, I think that it really speaks to your whole bag. You know, you can't really kind of hide any weakness out here. You can hit the ball great all day, putt really well, and then struggle with chipping, or you can kind of hit it bad, hit your irons great. Hit it bad off the tee and hit your irons great and putt and chip really well, and you're just not going to put it together. So it's sort of it's a big ask. There's a reason everyone wants to win this week, and I think it's just because it really is a true test. And now, you know, these couple practice rounds we've had a little bit of more wind, which has made it pretty difficult.
So you're saying it does a good job of identifying who's really playing the best.
Yeah, you just can't fake it around the property. You know, I'm a big fan of faking it till you make it, but this is not one of those places where it's going to do you any good.
Thank you. You've made it.
Doug Ferguson, Associated Press.
Xander, had a couple of things in your limited experience here. What do you like about this course and what do you dislike about it?
I like the fairness of the property. I think it's a really fair golf course. You know, there's always a predominant side you can hit it towards, off the tee or sort of into the green. Most of the time, hitting towards trouble, it sounds kind of weird, but you almost want to be more aggressive to certain pins because if you do kind of bail on the obvious side, you'll have a much more difficult up and down. So those are some of the small things I've been trying to pick up on certain pin locations out here, just either from watching film or just not even watching film, but just thinking of what I've done in the past and what other guys have done in the past. And in terms of dislike, there isn't really anything that I dislike about this property, in all honesty.
What's your example of an unfair course? The anti-Sawgrass.
I don't know. Any course that's sort of, I mean, I get everyone always plays the same course, so it's not really, an unfair course would just be, you know, when things get kind of dicey with the greens and the wind, when luck becomes involved, I'd say. So based on, you know, I've been on both sides of it, just as everyone else, you know, where I tee off early and there's no wind, and then the wind picks up and it's blowing balls off greens. So it's sort of, the longer you stay out here, the more it'll balance out. And I think I'd say unfair is just whenever sort of the course conditions become a little ridiculous, and that's just unfortunate.
And secondly, given your relatively youthfulness here, there's been a number of players who have been like in the top 10 who have taken a plunge in form and eventually worked their way back. You've been fairly consistent actually for the last 3 or 4 years. Do you ever pay attention to things like that happen to other players, and does it get your attention in terms of, let's not have that happen to me?
Yeah, you sort of you'll notice it. You know what I mean? I mean, when guys are in great form, you obviously see their name everywhere, and you just know who's won recently. You know what I mean? I think we're all very aware of who's won golf tournaments, and in terms of guys who aren't playing as good, you can kind of tell as well when someone's winning a bunch and then they stop winning. It's kind of in your face, but there's something to be learned from that. I mean, on my camp, we just try and everyone on my team just tries to make sure that my mind doesn't wander too much, and I don't try and do anything too crazy. You know, us golfers out here, I'd speak for most of us that we're always chasing perfection, and we always try and do everything so perfect that you can kind of go down a weird path or a beaten path where it's sort of not very fruitful. And I think it's my team's biggest job to sort of keep my mind occupied on what I'm kind of good at and away from trying to change my swing or do anything too crazy at once.
Okay, thanks. Good luck today.
Thanks.
Adam Schupak, Golf Week.
Xander, I know you play a lot of practice rounds with Patrick Hanley, and you guys have become pretty good friends. How would you say, how did that friendship develop between the two of you?
I mean, it kind of started at the President's Cup. You know, we started, both of us were sort of, like, say, lone soldiers for the most part in terms of playing practice rounds by ourselves. And I know his team pretty well, and now he knows my team pretty well. But I pretty much knew everyone on Pat's team before I knew Pat really well himself. So it was kind of an easy mix. And we just kind of have a pretty laid-back schedule for practice time. We do enjoy playing a game every week. It's very competitive, and we feel like when we play against each other, it sort of sharpens ourselves for the best week possible.
Who usually wins?
It's a mixed bag. You know, you can't fake it in that match either. You know, Pat's a hard person to beat. He's it's almost impossible to rattle him. So it's really good practice for me to try and beat him every week and kind of learn as many things as I can from him.
What do you most like about his game, and how do you describe his demeanor on the course?
Yeah, he's just, both of us are in the no reaction type area. We don't really get too high or too low. I think we enjoy that about each other. He's just a well-rounded guy. I think he does everything really well. If you look at his stats, I think last year or a year ago he had the best all-around stats on tour. So he really doesn't have a weakness, and so there's a lot for me to learn from him in terms of short game shots and how he approaches the game. So it's been great for me, and I'm not sure if he's learned anything from me, but I've definitely learned something from him.
Thanks.
Kathy Bissell, go ahead.
Do the holes at TPC Sawgrass annoy you in any regard? Are there some? We all know the 17th no one really likes. It's fun for everybody to watch it. It's apparently not a lot of fun for you all to play. But are there other holes that get your attention?
I wouldn't say 17 annoys us. It's a very anxious shot. You think about it all day. You walk up 16, you see the hole. You're sitting there trying to figure out what the wind's doing. It's a very if you hit a good shot on 17, it's a very nice feeling, even though 18 is a very tough shot. I'd say this week's 16 is a very important tee shot, even though not many will talk about it. It's a very important hole. It's a dogleg left, aggressive dogleg left, and the wind's left to right for the most part. 18 is another hole that'll get your attention. There's so many tee shots out here where, depending on what the wind's doing, they can be either easier or more difficult, and I'd say those last three will definitely get your attention, just kind of off the bat from what I can think of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Dylan DeChair, golf.com, another question?
I'm back for more. Do you like to play games in advance of tournaments? I know some guys have really just gotten dialed in on, you play 9-hole practice rounds, take notes, etc. Is that always a part of your routine these days, is playing a game?
I think so. when it's just Pat and I, it's pretty easy to play a game and practice at the same time since it's just two people. But today we played a game, Pat and I versus Jordan and Justin. That's a good way to start the week and a nice competitive match, for all of us. So I like playing games. I think you do most of your homework on your own time or on a Monday. If you can kind of challenge your game on Tuesday and Wednesday just before the tournament, it kind of gets, for me personally, gets my mind in a more competitive sort of state, and I think it kind of bears more fruit than not.
Who won the match today?
We actually tied. JT made we had him down every single way, and JT made like a 35-footer on the last, and Pat and I both missed our birdie putts. We played the front nine, so it was a good half match.
Yeah, all right. And then last thing, Patrick Cantlay, pretty much inscrutable to the general public. What's something that you know about him that the rest of us don't?
Man, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess no one really knows him. I mean, he's big into reading. I guess people could have guessed that in a sense. He's pretty well read, and I'd say he's pretty well read for how young he is. There's a lot of topics you can talk about that I'm completely lost on.
Sounds good. Thanks, Xander.
All right, Xander, those are all the questions that we have. We appreciate your time and best of luck this week.
Thank you.